Well, it says we're live, so I'm hoping. What am I looking for? In my chat box. There it is. All right. Welcome live from the Crossroads of America, a 1-hour talk show treating disabilities. We talk guns, politics, or anything else that crosses our mind. We'll answer questions from the audience. Just put them in the chat or email me at rickslifersIseit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. We are broadcasting on gun channels in YouTube. The audio files, all I think I worked it out the other day. I had 217 or something like that, or 218 now. They're on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher, and this one will be up within 24 hours of the show ending. I have a Patreon page. All the info is down below there on gun channels and YouTube. And well, so that's about it, really. So let me see what I got in the room. Oh, before I get too carried away, welcome to the first show of the new year, 2020. So let's see if this show can get any better or any worse this year. So, all right. First in the room was Jason Stewart. Then we had Rich White. Who else is in here? John Brown Productions, Yoda, Texas, Squibload's doing double duty. Sabrina's here from the Netherlands. Vanessa's here. Southpaw, RX, Sean Ponnery. They're all in the room here, so that's good. So, in my esteemed panel, I have up here in the corner, Blind Shooter from New York. How you doing?
Hey, Rick.
Then we got the one and only Squibload.
Hey, good evening.
Yeah. Hey, I'm being quirked by Yankee Marshall, motherfucker. You know?
No, that was a very appropriate term.
Yeah. Oh, then over here on the other corner we have Kingpin. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Don't worry about Yankee. Nobody watches that trash anyway.
Okay. Then we have the one, the only. This is the man, the myth, the legend. Your camera's on, by the way. Is the Patriot in the Dark. So there you go. Are you trying to give a thumbs down there, Patriot? You can just barely see your hand. You know?
Hey, would you like a thumbs down? Because I can click that right now.
Yeah. I was wondering why Patriot's got his camera on. It's unusual.
Oh, crap. You got two.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because it says mute video. Leave it to the tube to say mute video instead of toggle video or something. So I seen the mute real quick, and so hello. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everything their New Year's Eve went well. I wasn't planning on, I didn't stay up because it was New Year's. I'm trying to think, what was I watching last night? I was watching some movie. I was watching an old, movie with Jackie Chan and what's his name in it? Rush Hour. That's what I was watching last night. And it ended about 5 minutes past 12. I DVR'd it earlier in the week. So there we go. Yeah, you're right there, Rich. So much for the Queen's English for my little burst there about the Yankee. Oh well. So, gentlemen, do we want to talk children with disabilities, or do we want to have a free for all today? I don't know. Being New Year's Day, or should we get back in the swing of things?
It's your show.
I thought it was Patriot show.
Nope.
Yeah, it is the Patriot show. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. We got. I got a good email earlier today. just before the show started, actually, and we can talk about this. It could work for other people too, I would imagine. No, hang on, let me find it. Oh, there it is. Okay, what type of defense plan should a disabled person consider in their sort of like, I would say, I mean, either your defense plan in your home or a defense plan when you're out and about. We've talked about this subject before, but we can get into more detail. We can start there, then see where it takes us. You know what I'm saying?
Now, are you talking like personal body defense or, house caught on fire type of defense too? Are you just talking about strictly self-defense?
Well, we could go either. We could encompass it all. Yeah, we can talk about like like if your house catches on fire or something like that, or you're in yeah, like that, or you're caught in some disaster or something. So who wants to start us off?
Well, I would say that if you have any form of disability whatsoever, having a good escape plan if your house catches on fire is far more important than having a gun in your house.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because your house, you probably are more likely to have a house fire or some other situation where you've got to get out. Not saying you might not deal with a home invasion, but you've got to look at your odds of probability, right?
Yeah.
And that's important. Like with my house, the front of the house is, one story, but the back, where, the master bedroom or whatever, that's, 2-story. So it's kind of, obviously it depends on where you're at. You have to, take that into account. If you're in a different part of your house or a different, location, how would you get out of that as well? If you're cut off from, your normal egress.
Yeah. So, what's called? So I was reading Jason Stewart says carry a couple of hand grenades. Yeah. Oh,
Mail bombs.
yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that the front of the house is a single story and the back is a 2-story.
Yes.
So here's the thing: if you have a certain condition or you've reached a certain age and you're obviously not getting any younger, should your plan of action be to get into a single story house if you're not already in one? I mean, some people retire and that's what they do. They go from a 2-story house because they ain't got a house full of kids anymore, and they get a single story house, and that's a lot easier to defend or maintain. I suppose the only advantage to a 2-story house when you're at an older age is if you're next to the creek or the river, and you're not ready for when it floods. But at that point, you need to find a way to be able to get on the roof. 2-story or 1-story, but I mean, really, with a house with a basement or a house with an upstairs, is it more conducive to defense if you've got that, but not as conducive to evacuation in a fire? I mean, do you kind of weigh out the options, or?
Yeah, I mean, like my house, I have bedrooms in the front of the house. Like my daughter and my office is in the front, so that she could get out, in case of a fire. But there's also the rose bushes and all that stuff out front, so that no boys can get in. But with my stuff being in the back, well, I don't have anything set up as far as jumping out the window or anything. I've never really, I guess I've considered it, but also, my basement is set up to, with the third bathroom, and it's set up to make a bedroom downstairs, which has, full size, walk out the back. But that's definitely, you got to think about that. I mean, I know a lot of people that, they go to a single story because of the stairs. I mean, two steps for some people is pretty rough. Even going in from your garage into your house or whatever, there's
Yeah.
usually some kind of steps. If you have to get a ramp or whatever, and if you're in a wheelchair, obviously, things change, and you have to make sure that you can actually get indoors. Because like with my house, my front door is whatever size it is. It's a lot. It's bigger than my garage entry door, which is odd to me. But it's actually narrower. And so if you're main way because you drive and you get out of your vehicle and you're in a wheelchair, and you would think you would just go from your garage into your house. You obviously got to check that. I'm sure that there's some rules and stuff as far as how you build them, but to make sure that you can get through any door. So I can't believe they would have that too skinny, but obviously the front door is a lot easier.
Yeah. Actually, thinking about that, I mean,
You'd
I
have
got
to ask
a
Kingpin.
little place here, but you can't get out the windows in my apartment here because they don't open. The ones in the bedrooms don't open, and the only ones that open are in the kitchen. But the kitchen, it's a big open plan. The kitchen, living room, dining room, it's one big open room, because it's an open plan thing. So I don't know. I don't know what I do. Plus, because my front door, and i.e., you want to call it my back door is on the back of the big open space room, right over in the corner. So I had my two exits are in the same room.
No.
So if disaster happens, I'm screwed. Yeah.
Do they still? This is just a question, but with when you have small kids, they used to the fire department used to give you stickers, to put on the window, like hey, there's a kid in this one or something. Is that something that you would do? I mean, if you had little kids or whatever, or do you think that's a detriment to put that on there in case there's bad guys lurking?
I wouldn't put them on there for that reason. But I just want to back up here a little bit. Unknown user put, being disabled, I try to plan ahead for everything. I have a backup heat, backup power, gun stashed in strategic locations, survival supplies in home and car, etc. I started to do all that. I was doing all that in Rhode Island. I've let it slide by the side since I've been here in Indiana. But somebody also asked me if I'm on ground level. Yes, I am. I am. My back door, which is on the side over in the far corner, you open that and it takes me out into the carport. I have a covered carport where my truck's parked. So, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, out and about, as I said before, my plan is, I mean, I've said this before, is I spend more time. I feel that I have to spend more time looking around and stuff, getting in and out of my vehicles, going into stores and stuff like that, because I'm moving slower. And it all depends. Some days I can walk standing straight up. Other days I sort of like walk like a real old man leaning forward because my back's hurting me so much. And the stupid thing is, even though it feels more comfortable leaning forward, I'm actually doing my back more damage. But
Yeah, if you push through that for a few days, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck real bad. But the better your posture is, the better your back will feel altogether. Because I know what you mean. Being humped over feels good while you're walking, but it's making it worse.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what I said. I mean, normally when that happens is either when I'm very tired, or the arthritis or something is kicked in my back, along with the stenosis. Some days it really, you think, why in the hell am I out? I should be just sitting at home right now.
Well,
But that's another thing too. I try not to use the scooter as much anymore because, as I said from the very beginning, I don't want to use it because I don't want to. I don't want to lose my. Um, I want to keep moving. I want to keep walking. I want to use my own power because I'm afraid if I keep using the scooter, I'm going to depend on it more and more. Then the weaker I'm going to get, i.e., walking wise.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Unknown user makes a good point out there. He says that where's it go? He said if you're on a ground level, keep a dollar store hammer next to the window. I guess he says that will open it or whatever. But people don't understand. Glass isn't as easy to break as they think it is. It's really hard to break a window, especially a modern window. And you can't just bang it with your hand or kick it or whatever, and it's just going to pop open like the movie. So you gotta having a little hammer next to your window will work out really good.
A recommendation I'd like to make is to have a fire extinguisher, both to put out the fire and to break the window with.
Yeah.
If you have to, you can throw it, you can hit it, you can also use it as a weapon if you have to. But here's the thing: fire extinguishers do need maintenance. Now, commercial ones, they actually test them. They can replace the sodium bicarbonate in it, recharge them, things like that, change the seals. Just the ones you buy at the big box hardware stores, those are almost disposable. So you want to make sure that you don't keep the thing for 20 years and expect it to work unless you're just using it as a doorstop or to break glass. But you could use the same tool to fight fire as a defense or to break that window if you have to.
And another thing about the windows, depending on how your windows open, I have the type that are casements that slide side to side. So I have, one side will slide over. Well, it has, two locks in the center post. And if you have a kid, like when my daughter was younger, she couldn't reach the top. And so, having both of them locked, obviously you lock them on the ground floor. So that is something to consider too. Like I've cut dowels, for the stoppers to lay in the track. But I've also done it where I've got like a colored electrical tape, and I've made a flap on there so that it's kind of like a flag. So obviously, if you're outside, you can see that there's a stick in there so not to mess with the window. But it's also easier for a kid to grab on and pull it out, so that, in case they can't reach it or whatever, you might leave the top unlocked or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, real quick, Yoda Texas asked a question. Do you or your panelists use power scooters, and how do you transport them? I think I'm the only one here that uses one, right, or has one. I said I don't use it as much as I do. I have a power scooter, and I have one of those, what do you call them, things that go into your
reach
on your hitch on the back of my truck, and it has a folding ramp on it, and I just I don't drive it up there. I walk. I run it up there. I stand on the side and move it and put it in turtle mode and just climb it up there. That's how I transport mine. It can be taken apart I think it's 5 pieces. I could throw it in the trunk of a car if I needed to. But since I have the pickup truck, I just transport the thing as it is. The only thing is that becomes a pain in the backside too with that thing on the back of your truck because it makes using your tailgate harder. So it has its advantages and disadvantages. Right now, I don't have it on there. My actual thing I have pulled off is sitting on the side. But it's easy to slip on there. So I got to. I said I haven't used. I say it's easy to slip on there. I mean, it stays. But what I know the day I took it off, that evening, my back was killing me. And I know when I put it on, that either later that day or the next day, my back will kill me for doing it. Because the thing weighs about I mean, it's not heavy. It's just awkward to, because you got to get there, and I do have to either squat down or bend over to line it up with the thing to push it in, and that's where I normally have trouble. But normally, if I line it up, what I normally do is I take, like WD-40 or whatever, and squirt it all over the inside and all over the hitch for it slides real easy into it. That's how I do mine. But normally I can line it up, slide it in there, drop the bolt, and then I'm good to go. So there you go. And I do, even though I haven't used it for months. Actually, I'm trying to think the last time I used the scooter. It had to be about 3 or 4 months ago. But I keep it, I charge it up. I put it on the charger once a month to make sure it's fully charged, just in case I ever need it. There's nothing be worse than wanting it and it's not working. So, all right. Plus, I do have, like, I'm on the ground floor, but I do, when I was living in Rhode Island, they gave me ramps to get into my, because even though I lived in a basement apartment, you had to go up, then step down. So they gave me ramps to come into the front door and ramps when I got through the door to go down, because I had 2 steps to go down into the basement apartment. So they gave me ramps to go up and down the other side. I brought them with me in case I need them here. I would need them here just to get across the door step. So well, that's about it, really. But also I used to. I got it sitting right here. I'm looking at it right now. I got a backpack with like was an unknown user saying with survival supplies and stuff that I need. It's sitting here. I mean, I need to finish it off, make sure what's in there is still good to go. I do have a little emergency pack in my truck, but it's got flashlight in there, a multi-tool, couple of lighters, some Band-Aids, just a little quick emergency thing. I got some cotton balls smeared in Vaseline for a quick fire lighter type thing.
That's one that's super. Probably the most important thing is being able to keep your body temperature, your core temperature, stable.
Yeah. I also have in that thing. I have a water filter too. One of those things you can drink out of a puddle and it will filter the water out of it, or dirt germs out of it, I should say. I've never used it, so I couldn't tell you if it works or not.
One of the things I picked up this over Christmas, I gave them away as gifts, but the Zippo makes those little pocket heaters. They work for, depending on which one you get, 6 or 12 hours, and they run on Zippo fluid, but it's not like a open flame or anything, and it's got a little bag that you put it in, and depending on how much air you let get in there is how hot it gets. But
now, to be honest with you, I haven't looked here in Indiana, like buying the fluid, but because up in Rhode Island, you had to go to the cigarette counter and ask them for the lighter fluid because it was kept behind the counter where the cigarettes were. It wasn't just out on the shelf. I haven't checked here. I ain't even paid attention because I don't smoke anymore, so I don't even look for it anymore. And I use a gas grill, so I don't need any lighter fluid for the charcoal grill either. I don't even look for that stuff. All right. Well, I was going to mention why we're here. So the shooting there on Sunday in the church in Texas. When you think about it, unfortunately, the 2 guys that got shot, but I believe in the video when you see the first guy going for his gun, I think he was an old boy, and the guy who actually shot him wasn't no spring chicken either. So they're so you're still useful when you're old like us, or like me, I should say. I think I'm the oldest one here. So, but what I wanted to say was I'm very disappointed. I would I mean, that guy that YouTube channel, active.
Active self-protection.
Yes, he put out a video the same day I think it happened, just to
Yeah.
go over a few points. And he was talking that guy, if he had learned to, you know, um, draw his gun within 2 seconds, he would have made it, because it took him 3 It took 3 seconds from when that guy shot the shotgun. From when he showed the shotgun, it was 3 seconds before he pulled the trigger. And he said if that guy had been able to get his gun out within 2 seconds, he might still be alive. I mean, my thing of him went down 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying.
I understand you. I mean, yeah, you can't daddle around if somebody's attacking you, but I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I've never timed myself to see how fast I can draw. But I mean, yeah, you want to get it out, but I rather like the old like they used to say in the old Cowboys. Don't worry about the fast draw. Just make sure your first bullet hits. But sometimes the bad guy gets the first shot off, and he hits on target, and you're screwed.
So here's the thing. This is what I hear a lot of people talk about, is how fast they can get their gun out from concealment and how much they practice. And I'm not saying practice is a bad thing. You should practice, especially if you carry different guns or wear different clothes or whatever. But here's the thing. If somebody already has their gun out, you're going to lose every single freaking time. Every time. Not unless they're distracted, they're not looking at you, or they're facing multiple defenders and they're not sure which one to go at. Otherwise, if they've already got their gun out, you're going to lose every time. And I like the videos the guy does when he does the ones from America. He constantly does ones from South America, and I like, hey, whatever. That doesn't apply here, some of the situations. And I do like the fact that his analysis sometimes is fair, and I like the fact that this time he didn't flood it with, commercials and ads for, his sponsors or any of this. He just made it about that he handled that part well. He really did. But I think his whole thing is, if he was a second faster, he had 3 seconds. If he was a second faster, he might be alive today. And I'm thinking, dude, 3 seconds is pretty good. He's at church, and he's wearing a suit. He's older, and I don't know.
See, there's something more important than your draw speed, anyways, is being aware of it. Because it doesn't matter if you can pull it out in 2 seconds. If you're not paying attention, you're not going to see the guy walk in or whatever. I don't know.
I think they were paying attention, but I think they were erring on the side of, okay, this guy's weird, but do we go from condition 3 to condition 10 like that? Well, if he pulls the shotgun out, yes, you do. But until he does that, maybe we can all armchair quarterback it and stuff like that. But I mean, in the end, I think the situation, despite the fact that 2 people died, the situation could have been much, much worse, and the situation was handled. If you look at the guy who did take him down, 1 headshot, 30 yards. Marksmanship was the most important factor there. I mean, that's not to say you shouldn't practice with your concealed carry, or if you're in this position where you've volunteered to be security at a group, and you're going to be wearing a suit, you're going to have other duties like being an usher or whatever. I mean, there's certain amount of training and practice and all this, but if the bad guys already got their gun out, you are not going to beat them.
2 seconds before, and every second throughout entire human history before that guy pulled his gun out, no one on the planet but him knew what was going to happen. So for anybody who's given the guy a hard time for taking 3 seconds to get his gun out can pound sand.
Yep.
That goes for anybody. Absolutely. I don't care if you're my friend or not. If you have a problem with that guy not getting his gun out in 2 seconds, you're not my friend anymore.
Right, and they were saying also
Exactly.
that he was a
Yeah, now
reserve law enforcement and a firearms instructor. So if anything, he's got more time behind the gun than most of us. So if it
Right,
took
but
him 2 seconds, and
he was also further away, and he was one of three people that the guy with the shotgun was confronted by, and actually he was the last of the three. So the guy with the shotgun went after the first person to pull a gun, and then he went after the second person. And by the time he got to the third person, the third person had that time. And I'm not saying you should be cannon fodder in order to buy time, but sometimes that does happen, whether it be in combat or in a situation like this.
I think these people
And
did absolutely the best possible that all of them could do.
yes, I
yeah, I
agree.
did too.
I agree with that. I think the guy
I think
that got
outcome
shot, the guy that got shot, that active self protection was criticizing for being too slow on the draw, was a hero in the sense that he could have ducked down, he could have ran, he could have turned tail, he could have done anything but pull his gun and confront this guy. Yes, he paid with his life, but if he hadn't, how many more people would be dead?
All right. You're right. Now, we got a little thing going on here in chat here. Putting it bluntly, Squibb is wrong. Mythbusters proved that someone drawing their gun will get their shot off before the person who has theirs out already.
Mythbusters was a joke show.
I tell you what, we'll use water pistols, Rich, and we'll see. I'll have my gun out, and you draw your gun, and we'll see who gets soaking wet first.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when somebody when he pulled the shotgun out, the guy, you're at a disadvantage because he already had it out. Plus, Tommy had it up. It works both ways, I guess, because you have that reaction time that your brain takes. Oh my God, there's a gun. Then you move your hand to go to draw yours. But it could work the other way. The guy drawing his gun, for the guy with the shotgun, reaction time to see what that guy's actually doing. I don't know.
Now, see, if they had approached this guy, if they had maybe given each other hand signals and approached this guy and surrounded him, or they approached the guy and said, "Sir, I think you need to leave," and at that point the guy pulls out a shotgun, but he's got three guys at point blank range where they could literally wrestle him before he can even do anything, that would be a different situation. But the whole point of the thing is they were at church and they were doing their job and they were erring on the side of this guy's weird and this is kind of but we're still not going to judge him.
Yeah.
If every concealed hold, we'll think about it like this: if everybody who concealed carried a gun walking down the street saw somebody and said, "I feel a little bit nervous," and immediately drew their gun and brandished their weapon, every single time, we'd have a lot of innocent people getting shot. And somebody could, once again, armchair quarterback this and say, "Hey, we need to look at this and say they should have pulled their guns on them right in the middle of the church." I mean, I don't know. I think it was handled well.
I thought it was too. But there was a couple of things I've seen it in the chat here, which I don't agree with, and somebody else said it. I've heard it in other YouTube shows, videos, or whatever. Is the guy who got shot first? They say the guy was close enough. He should have gone towards him. I think he's further away than what people thought he was. Personally, I think he still would have got shot if he had ran at the guy.
Yeah, I looked at that too, Rick.
Go ahead, Squibby.
Well, I looked at that too because here's the thing: if you're really close to the person and they pull a weapon, you might be better off, depending on how physically capable you are and how close you are and what kind of, and just the whole situation. It's a case by case situation that you might be able to wrestle them, tackle them. You might be able to do something with your bare hands more effectively than trying to draw a gun, and both of you guys are literally, at fist range or not at gun range, and somebody could, I know you can use a gun at point, you can jab it in somebody's ribs and put. What I'm saying though is I looked at that too, and I think he was too far away. Plus, with his age, I don't think he's just going to bound over a pew and tackle this guy. Had he been closer, yeah, maybe trying to tackle the guy, wrestle the gun, do something like that. might have been more effective than him fumbling around and trying to draw his gun and do what? So
Yeah, but
it's a case by case basis. But yeah, I heard some of that too, and it's like no. But there are situations where somebody tackles the gunman. Remember when that guy fired that AK-47 into the White House, and a guy ran across the street and tackled him? He was changing magazines, and the guy jumped on his back and tackled him and subdued him until the Secret Service got there. But the guy was standing outside the gates of the White House, and he was on the sidewalk, and he was just
I
firing.
remember that.
Yeah, he pulls out of a trench coat and just starts firing at the White House. And when he goes to change magazines, a bystander don't tell me you can't tackle somebody. It just depends. How physically capable are you? Do you have any experience in football or wrestling or hand-to-hand combat or anything? What's the situation? Is the guy distracted? Are you coming at him from his blind side? And there's all kinds of things. And he was head on. He was older. He had too much distance to cover. That was handgun distance. That wasn't some sort of melee distance. And no, him trying to lunge forward attack it would ended up the same exact result.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, Rick said they'll take you on that, and you do it one day next summer, and Kingpin can be the ref.
Sounds like we got a duel scheduled.
I want to see it with a permanent marker, though.
Super soakers with some of that ink in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But these people, I mean, you got to remember that, once again, 2 seconds before this started happening, half of those people were thumbing through the hymn book, trying to find page 92, or passing the collection plate around, or talking about, what they're going to have for lunch after. They were at church having a normal day. It's not like they went in there and they were like, hey, any second now, something's going to pop off and we're going to get all, Rambo on somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, wasn't there, from what I heard here in New York, they were saying that he entered the church during communion. So wouldn't everyone's back be towards the shooter anyway? So it's not like
he's already in the church. If I'm not mistaken, the guy even tried to take the communion. When these people are going about their normal everyday, Rick, it'd be like somebody kicking your door in right now while you're sitting here on this live chat, just yakking it up with us. Somebody
sounds bizarre, but it does happen.
How tough you are, you're screwed.
You're right. You're right. Not only that is they said he seemed a bit weird, but it is a church.
Yeah, mine's full of weird people all the time walking.
Now, unknown, from what I saw, I didn't think so. I didn't go into it that deep, but unknown users saying he was within 2 steps, and his odds of delaying the shooter long enough for the others to get their guns out was better than counter ambushing the shooter.
And now his buddies are going to shoot through him to get to the shooter. No. I looked at it too. I am telling you that if I thought him tackling the shooter I would say it. You guys know me. I don't pull punches. And you can go back to the whole, well, if he was only a second faster, he might be alive today. Whatever. Yeah. I think the guy is still a hero because he had the option of he could have ducked behind a pew faster than drawing that damn gun. And there's no way he could have tackled that guy in time. If I thought he could have, believed me, I would tell you, because in some cases that is a better option.
Yeah, that's going back to that old thing we've talked about on the show before. Is it the Tula rule? Is that what they say? That somebody can come at you with a knife within 21 feet or something in 1.5 seconds?
How about the guys saved everybody else's life?
Mm-hmm.
Let's stop and bitching about that he didn't kill the guy with some perfectly aimed shot from inside his pocket through the holster. The guy saved everybody else in that church's life by making the first move.
Yeah, the whole, making a perfectly aimed shot with the gun inside his pocket and all that, that's a James Yeager kind of attitude.
Yeah, another thing, too, is the way I look at it is I've never been in that situation. What would I have done? I might have done the same thing as him. Because I know, because of my physical handicaps, there's no way I could have charged him. Because I got a cane in one hand, and I would have, I shoot right-handed, I hold the cane in my right hand, so I have to let go of the cane. So there's no way I'm going to be able to scoot across in time.
The vast
So,
majority of the people that are in any church in any part of the country on any Sunday are going to be 40 plus older. The statistics
oh
show
yeah,
kids aren't going. It's
Yeah.
not like that was a church full of the star football team. These are probably all old people.
yeah. I didn't see many, from what I could tell. I mean, it wasn't a very long video. I mean, didn't seem like a lot of young kids in there. As you said, it seemed like middle-aged America were in there. There was 200. I mean, you think, but you're right. The guy was a hero. Plus, the guy who actually made the fatal shot. Can you imagine what kind of damage that guy could have done with a shotgun if there was nobody there with a firearm to take him down? Yeah, they might have been able to charge him and take him down, but how many more would he have killed? You know?
And see, there he is using a hunting weapon in this church because it's a soft target. At least he thought it was a soft target. He could have wreaked all kinds of damage. He didn't need an AR-15 with a 30-round mag, or any other of the scary guns or whatever. It's a matter of the fact that it wasn't a soft target, and I'm wondering, will we ever know? Did the shooter know that there were people that were concealed carrying that day?
Well, see,
I don't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I like today. Today was a feast day, so I went to mass, and I know that there's, out of everybody there's probably at least 10 or 11 people that can still carry. Like me being in a situation, obviously I'm not. I've already set limits on myself as far as what I will do. Obviously, I'm not going to shoot across a room unless I have physical contact with them being, totally blind. But I know that, there's 3 people just in sitting next to me that, concealed carry. There's, half the ushers are either retired police or whatever. So it's all over. But in my church, there's weird. I don't know, what you want to call them. There's a lot of people that come in. You have homeless people that walk in, which is fine. That's what church is for people, to get assistance and help and whatever. So there's people that come in and out all the time that, might not be, the normal people in there. So it's something that obviously you pay attention to. But just a few weeks ago, there was a lady that had her purse stolen and her car was stolen out of the parking lot, because 2 people came in, they were dressed, whatever, normal, church clothes or whatever. But somebody actually seen them and was thinking, boy, this is odd, as they reached down and grabbed the purse and ran out the door, but that awareness and knowing what's going on, it's not something that, we can talk about it and look back, and say this should have been better. And that's kind of what, training is to always try to be better. But, any situation is going to be how it's going to be, Yeah. So, I think they did what they could, and, all 3 of them did the best they could. And I think they are heroes. And everybody else that gets to come home and think about it and show up next week, they're all, have something to think about, these, great people. But that's anywhere though. That's why people, do training and whatever, so that they can, take care of a situation. But there's no way that you're going to know what's going to happen. That last email that I sent you, Rick, was a link to a story. I guess it's an ongoing series. I've never seen it, but it came out September 21st of 2019. There's a guy that writes for the NRA, and he's in a wheelchair, and so he's talking about, going to certain places, having that awareness of looking and, keeping your eyes open at certain things. And, he mentioned, the white, yellow, and orange, and all that. The situations as far as how much your awareness is. and that is obviously the most important. It's not where you're scared and you're nervous and it's just being aware and not assuming. So you can look at a situation and say, oh yeah, this is my house. I'm back. I'm walking in my garage. I go to the door. And that's just assuming that everything's the same. And he kind of spurred up in that article where it was, look at it as though, you're looking through baby eyes. You can't assume anything. You're just looking and you notice things and, just take that account. So, I mean, not that has anything to do with the church thing, but it's something that you got to do.
I do that now. When I pull in, I normally always reverse up my driveway for my. I've done this ever since I become disabled, and especially like with the snow we had, especially in the winter months, the snow up in Rhode Island. I always reversed in so I could drive straight out. So when I reverse up into my thing there, I always look around before I even get out of my. I said this before. When I get in my vehicle, before I even start the damn thing, I lock the doors. Because that if somebody tries to get in, it gives me that that second or two, a bit more. I don't know, defense. If I can see what's going on, but I look around before I even get out of my vehicle.
Well, surveillance is key, but it's like Patriot was saying, going back to the churches. The churches that I'm familiar with are backcountry churches. And if somebody walks in that you don't know, nobody else in the church knows that person either, because everyone knows each other. They're small, close-knit churches. Then you get into some of the bigger community churches where, like Patriot said, anybody can just walk in and you may never see that person ever again. And if you live way back in the boonies, when you get out of your car at night, you can give a quick look over your shoulder and, oh, okay, I'm good. And if you notice something, well, hey, I've been living here for 20 years and I've never noticed something before. But if you live, say, Rob D lives in New York, there's 100 people around at all times. So your awareness has to be different depending on where you're at, because you can't, like Squibby mentioned earlier, if you're in New York and one person looks shady and you pull your gun out, well, you're going to jail and they're taking your gun away from you. Where if you're way out in the middle of the sticks and one person looks shady, you got to pay attention to that one shady person.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, I also read that there was a shooting up there in Texas. A guy from, a sheriff deputy, a deputy sheriff.
Retarded.
And the guy the guy came from Louisiana, and that's where they arrested him. But I was reading the story, and in the story it says, and he was shot with an a semi-automatic rifle. Like, what does it matter? The goddamn, he was shot. I mean, why stretch that thing?
Because we're coming up to election time, and they got to make the point. No.
Oh yeah, but I tell you this. I mean, the mainstream media, most of them had to report this because it hit the internet because it was streaming live, and it hit the internet before they could squash it. So they had to report it, and you could tell they hated even talking about it on the CNN and SBC, NBC, and all them other alphabet channels.
Something to consider here. A church has always been considered a soft target. Look at how many times in the past somebody has shot up a church. It's just like a school or some of these other places where there are no guns allowed. If your state, like Texas or Michigan, allows you to carry at church, if that's common enough knowledge, I'm wondering if this is going to deter some of these dirtbags from trying to commit a mass murder at a church in the future, because they're not going to consider it a soft target anymore. I mean, there's enough states where you can't carry a gun at a church no matter what, and I don't even know that it's common knowledge in states like Texas and Michigan that you can carry at church. So I'm
If I
just
was carrying
wondering.
concealed, I would carry in church whether I could or couldn't.
Yeah,
Well,
that
and then that's your choice, and it may save somebody's life one day. But the whole point being is, as of prior to this, a church was considered an air quotes soft target because think about how many shootings there've been at different religious locations in America prior to this where nobody fought back. No, okay, I know the one in Texas where the guy was shooting up and the guy chasing him had the AR-15, but he was across the street, not actually in the church. So I don't know if there'll be some sort of residual kind of like, okay, maybe I'll go somewhere else to do this kind of thing for the bad guys, because I'd be thinking maybe more churches will be packing heat, or oh my
well,
goodness, I
that's
didn't know any churches allowed this.
well. First off, that's rational thinking, and I don't think that most of I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know what they're thinking, but somebody that's intent on doing evil isn't going to sit there and. I mean, they might, detour from going into a somewhere where it's not a gun-free zone, but I
I
think
would
they're just
imagine.
nuts.
I would imagine, as Sean says, I think people are going to think twice in Texas
Well, here's
about
the
it.
thing, though. Okay, yeah, okay. They aren't rational. They are crazy. They are evil, and sometimes it's really hard to put ourselves where they're at. But they do pick these soft targets. They know where the
Oh yeah,
gun-free zones are. So maybe this is kind of like the notice that goes out to the public. Hey, guess what? Some of these aren't gun-free zones like you thought. And I mean, that just seems to be where these guys go. It's rare for them to go anywhere else but these gun-free zones,
Yeah, I
rational
think
or not.
90% of mass shootings I think have been in gun-free zones. So no matter how disturbed they are, they seem to know where people are going to be that can't hurt them straight away.
Well, it's
You know,
interesting. The gun grabbers are backed into a small temporary corner with this because
oh
when you hear most of them on the mainstream media talking about it, they're, oh, I'm thankful that there was somebody there to stop the bad guy. It was so good, but I still don't want to have to carry in my place of worship. First of all, they're probably all Satanist anyway, but they're forced to give it props, but at the same time they're putting up their stupid, oh, I still don't want to be forced to carry a gun in my church. So it's funny listening to them try to squirm out of this one.
Oh yeah,
oh, it
definitely.
is.
And that's just it,
I
though.
mean,
Nobody's forcing anyone to do anything, and
and that's what school
that's how they
teachers.
spin it, right?
I mean, that's like school. They're talking about teachers carrying. If a teacher doesn't want to carry, they don't have to. They're not being made to. You know, but I would imagine any school you would find a handful of people that will be willing to do it. Not only teachers, but maybe somebody in the admin office or the janitor as well.
well, you look at the people that are saying that I wouldn't want to have to do it. The reason they say it that way is because the way they think is they have to make people do stuff. That's the whole thing behind being progressive, and that is I don't think you're smart enough to do it, so I'm going to make you do X, Y, Z. I'm going to make you give charity.
Take care of you.
I'm going to tax you because you don't give money to poor people. I'm going to do it for you because you're too stupid. And so somebody that thinks that way thinks, well, gosh, I'm going to have to tell somebody to do this because they're too dumb to do it on their own.
My favorite radio host always says that progressives, what they don't want to make mandatory, they want to ban. And what they don't want to ban, they want to make mandatory.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and I hope to God that Trump wins this year because I might have to move back to England.
And that's something to bring up. This is the first day of the year. You need to stay vigilant and pay attention to your local stuff. We always say it. But.
Yeah, we were discussing this. Was it Saturday or something. It was one of these shows this last couple of weeks that you weren't here. Not that I'm digging at you, but
Yeah. Well,
we help. But that's what we're talking about. You need to get out and keep an eye on that stuff, even down to your local towns, town councils, or whatever.
well, that's the most important.
If they vote, go out there and vote.
Right now, the government is at its most vulnerable position. Almost every seat in government across the nation this year or 2 years from now is up for election.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pliable right now. You can poke at them a little bit and get them to do what you want. So do like our friend Patriot always says, and let's get on the offense and not wait until after the election season and they start trying to pass a bunch of stuff to fight. Get on them now while their campaigns are going on and they still are pandering for your votes.
Yes, exactly.
And the other thing to throw in there is pay attention to your local stuff and see who isn't doing what they're supposed to, or who's running unopposed, or for the last 5 elections has just been on the ballot and nobody else is there, so they always win. Look at those places, see what they're doing, and if they're not a good person or don't do what they should be doing or pushing what they should be doing, even on your school board, that it's nothing to get a petition out there and get on the ballot.
You're right, but I would say not as much, but even down at the local level, what's the word for the person who has the seat? The incumbent always has it. He's harder to get out than if you had just 2 people running for an empty seat.
Yeah, but that even if that is true every time, that's still no reason to let them stay in. Because
I agree.
I had my local school board.
I wish Blind Shooter would run against Chuck Schumer. You know what I'm saying? That guy's made a career out of that. And politics shouldn't be a career.
If you think that Donald Trump's campaign for 2016 was epic, just close your eyes for a second and imagine a Blind Shooter campaign. That would be the greatest thing of all time.
He's dropped out. I think he's embarrassed.
Either that or they heard about it and they cut his line.
They've already kicked in his door. They've shot his dog. He's been tased, tear gassed, and not read his Miranda rights.
Rick is up for charges for illegal contributions.
Collusion with the Russians.
The thing I wanted to throw in there, my local school board, it's not the school board, but the city council. Yeah, where they got a group of people that sit around and figure out what they're going to spend money on or whatever. There was a local high schooler that went to all the meetings, did basically followed everything that they were doing, and there was an open seat, and he went in and said, this is what I want, I want to be part of this, I want to do it. And they kind of told him, oh yeah, you just do it this way. Anyways, ended up kind of shafting the kid because they're like, we don't want this young kid in here because he's actually got paying attention. But they were trying to get, I don't know if it was the chairman. Anyways, there was some political stuff, and there was a friend of the family kind of trying to get people in there doing, side stuff. And the kid stayed on it, and I do believe he's actually got on the board. But he, caused a big enough stink by pointing, a light on, the stuff that was going on, that he actually, got some things changed. So.
Yeah.
So you just got to be noisy enough and irritating, like Squib a little bit. And no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Come on, I got to jab at him. I haven't been here in a while. So.
Unknown user said Squib swatted Blind Shooter. That's why he's not in here.
Yeah,
but
wrong about that. Squib's not just a little annoying; he's a lot annoying.
Well, I'm trying to be nice.
Thank you very much.
I thought I was muted.
Hey, Blind Shooter, we thought we lost you there. We thought they come.
Hello,
We thought they came down your door.
You should give your first campaign speech now, Blind Shooter.
Yeah, because we've already got you signed up to run against Schumer.
Oh, well, that's easy. Screw everybody. I'm not racist. I'm Irish.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, now here's a good point where Ozzy Osbourne wrote in the chat. Your local level is important because your county board member today could be your state representative in 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been saying. That's why you got to make sure that you pay attention to that stuff. You know? So.
And there was something I'll throw out another thing since we're just rambling. Now we talk about emailing our reps and all this stuff. I had forwarded an email that I received from a rep to Squib, and he had replied that he had never got an email worded that way or whatever. Because normally if you write emails and you say, "Hey, you're doing a bad job," whatever, and you complain about stuff, you get that automated. Oh, we love the Second Amendment. I love to hunt and fish. Whatever their reply, stabbing off.
Right. But we should have.
But what I did is, if the reason I got the one that listed the 30 things that this rep was pushing through, and hey, look at this, we're doing good jobs, and listing all the horrible things that they actually are doing, is because if you go and you find that rep's website, you can sign up for their little newsletter, and that, to them, they think you're a supporter, so they're going to tell you all the nonsense, garbage, lies, whatever, that they filter for the people that back them. And so then that gives you that ammunition to know, oh well, this guy's actually trying to push XYZ. So not only going and following some of these losers on Twitter and stuff, where you actually get some of this inside stuff that somebody that obviously doesn't follow them, not going to know. So, just as another little option.
All right, guys, it's gone 8:00, and I haven't eaten yet. Plus,
what's for dinner?
I'm medicated up to the eyeballs because I've got a cold coming. Is it cold or is it the flu? I mean, I've had my the doctor gave me my flu shot weeks ago. So whether that stops you from getting the flu or not, I don't know. But I can feel a tickle in the back of my throat and starting to cough. My nose is starting to run. So.
What's your question for the week?
What, my quiz for Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You always have to go over that so that everybody can.
Yeah, because I've only got a couple of entries actually. Okay. In the 1970 film, John Wayne movie, Rio Lobo, what was the name of the leading female actress, whatever you wish to call them? I want the character name and the real name. So there you go. I know you said if you had to ask, that it's not the flu. I got a cold. What I'm having for dinner is, believe it or not, I'm going to have some chicken noodle soup because I feel that's what I need right now. I'm feeling poor me right now. You know what I'm saying? Plus, then I'm going to sit there eating my soup, watching what you call it? The Star Wars movie. What's the name? Han Solo movie?
Oh, the Solo?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that. So that's what I'm doing tonight. Then I'm gonna go to bed. So I want to say, well, you got any shout outs there? Who's over there in the corner? Squib.
No.
Okay. Well, appreciate it. Kingpin, anything?
No, Happy New Year, everybody. Glad to be with you, Rick, and see you guys next time.
Oh, yeah. Patriot in the Dark.
Happy New Year. I haven't made a video in a while. My phone and camera kind of took a shot craps on me, so I have replaced it, and I'll probably get back to it. I have been working on the furniture for my AK, and I found out some different information, and that should be coming up here sometime. So thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. Glad you're here. Blind shooter, anything?
Yeah, Rick, thanks for having me. And since the panel let the cat out of the bag, make sure you vote Blind Shooter 2020.
That's it, exactly.
Woohoo!
All right. I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up on New Year's Day. I appreciate it. And I enjoy doing these. I don't know if we make any sense at the end of the show, but it's good to have these discussions, you know? So, all right. I want to say thanks, everybody. I will be back on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern for my next show. And then I'll be here the following Wednesday at 7 p.m. So I will see you all then. So good night, everybody.
Good night, Sabrina.